It all began around the time I moved to a small town nestled in the mountains, a place suggested by a friend who thought it would be the perfect retreat for my writing. The air was crisp, and the town had an undeniable charm, with its wooden buildings, old stone bridges, and cobblestone paths that snaked through the hills. On the day I arrived, dense fog hung low over the town, casting a muted, whispered hush across the village. I had rented a quaint little cottage just a short walk from the main road. It sat at the end of a narrow lane, bordered by towering trees and thick underbrush. From the outside, it seemed idyllic, a simple, white-painted house with small windows, partially hidden by climbing ivy. Inside, the air felt calming, like stepping into an old library where time stood still, filled with the scent of aged mahogany and dried lavender, echoes of past lives gently murmuring in the corners. As I settled into my new home, I noticed something curious. The house felt unusually cold, no matter how I adjusted the heaters, and there was a peculiar scratching sound coming from the attic. Chalked it up to the building's age, or maybe a trapped squirrel. Either way, I didn't see any reason to investigate just yet. Days passed in relative peace. I followed my morning routine: coffee, a short walk to the village, a stop at the little bakery for a buttered croissant, and a friendly chat with Mrs. Harding, the owner. She was a sprightly woman, probably in her 70s, with eyes that sparkled like they held secrets of old legends. Every day she'd offer a new story about the town's history, tales about the old railway, the vanished mines, and the people who disappeared or went a little mad over the years. One chilly evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, I heard it again, the soft, persistent scratching. Not frantic, but deliberate, like someone tracing lines in the walls. I hesitated at the bottom of the stairs leading to the attic, the shadows pooling at my feet, pregnant with things unseen. My heart quickened as I stood listening, the distinct chill of each tremor tapping through the floor. The next morning, curiosity got the better of me. I made my way up the creaky staircase to the attic, flashlight in hand. The attic was empty save for a few cobwebs and a lone wooden chair facing a tiny window. The source of the noise, however, remained elusive. Not wanting to dwell on it, I shoved the unsettling mystery to the back of my mind and returned to my writing. A week later, I noticed something odd. Objects seemed to be shifting places, my pen on the floor rather than the desk. My notebook flipped open to a page I hadn't yet reached, and my lamp slightly tilted as though nudged by unseen hands. Brushed it off as oversight. After all, I'd been there only a short time and was still adjusting. But deep down, a quiet unease stirred, whispering that I wasn't alone in the house. I mentioned it in passing to Mrs. Harding, expecting a chuckle and some reassurance. Instead, she paused, her ever-present smile faltering. Her eyes glossed over moments lost to time before she leaned in and whispered, "Have you met the previous tenant?" When I shook my head, she simply said, well, she wasn't fond of strangers, and left it at that, returning to broad smiles and the aroma of sweet pastries filling the shop. As days melted into each other, that quivering sensation beneath my skin refused to dissipate. The sounds above me persisted, never escalating but always there, like a nagging itch that couldn't be scratched. My sleep turned fitful, dreams obscured by the shadowy being that seemed to dwell unseen in the floors and walls. One particular night, as I lay awake contemplating whether I should move, I heard something else, a soft, rasping whisper echoing through the house. It was faint, almost smothered by the night, like a conversation held behind closed doors. I bolted upright, adrenaline obliterating any residual drowsiness. Sitting there, shrouded in darkness, my heart hammered, smashing against my ribs with determination. Gripping the flashlight, I ventured into the hallway, following the static murmur. As I neared the attic door, the whispering ceased, leaving me stranded in profound silence, the kind so complete it vibrated in my ears. Minutes stretched endlessly, the flashlight's beam scanning the banister and the empty air beyond. Convinced I was being entrapped by tricks of the mind, I retreated to my room, forcing myself to sleep. The following days slipped by uneventfully, the oppressive energy ebbing into dormancy. On a wet evening, I invited a local friend, Mark, over for dinner in hopes of mollifying my nerves. As we shared stories over wine, I found myself recounting the unnerving occurrences. Mark listened quietly, nodding occasionally under the amber glow of the dining room lamp. Know what helps? He suggested. Let's check the attic together. Maybe there's some logical explanation. Grateful for the solidarity, we made our way up the stairs, attuned to the depth of heavy air cloaked around us. Upon opening the attic door, Mark paused, eyes narrowing as if sizing up a formidable adversary. Together, we scanned the room, searching every corner, every shadow. Yet again, nothing appeared to justify the unsettling history those four walls seemed determined to unfold. As we turned to leave, Mark's foot caught on a loose floorboard. He bent to straighten it, his expression curious. Beneath the floorboard, hidden away, was a small, worn box. Inside, we discovered faded photographs of a woman, always standing by a window in similar poses, but different days, seasons, years. Her expression shifted subtly in each, growing increasingly desolate. One photo had a note penned on the back, "I'm here, always watching." The discovery was confounding and unsettling, a cold dread inching its way up my spine. As we posed hypothetical explanations, laughter tumbling with feigned levity, an uncanny feeling settled over me. Something intangible knitted with the house itself, a silent vow of invisibility. Mark left late that night, his presence a calm balm against the encroaching solitude until the door swung shut behind him. Alone once more, fear cicatrized my resolve, yet I lingered awake, waiting, hoping. The next morning, I decided to visit the town archives, perusing clippings about the house's former inhabitants. The woman in the photographs had lived there for years until she disappeared, her absence slowly dissolving into rumors and quiet acceptance among the townsfolk. No explanation, no goodbyes, just gone. Days coalesced into monotonous routine once more, the specter of fear yielding to resignation. One evening, restless, I found myself at the little attic window, watching the moon outline the unapologetic bark of the trees. I imagined her standing where I was, looking out as shadows cosset past, whispering their secrets into the void. As I turned to descend the stairs, my eyes caught something in the corner, a pile of dust disturbed by faint footprints, impossibly small and leading nowhere. My heart resumed its erratic pace, the house stretching silently into each creak, sigh, and groan, cradling secrets better left unspoken. Finally, I decided to move, embracing the conclusion that I would never calibrate with the phantom presence dwelling within those ancient walls. But even that decision faltered when a letter arrived a day before my planned departure, an eviction notice, reason undisclosed. It seemed the house had chosen, not as a sanctuary, but as an enigmatic sentinel holding its long watch. As I packed, I glanced one last time at the attic. I could almost decipher an outline etched furtively alongside those etched glimpses in photographs. The house, much like life, often held mysteries just out of reach, sealed in silence and ambiguity. Driving away from the village cloaked in dense mist, I cast a final look at the receding lane. RT of me understood what had never been voiced. Some places are meant to remain mysteries, woven into the tapestry of whispered history, suspended between reality and myth, leaving onlookers wondering what more, if anything, dwells beyond the veil of their perception.